Hi everyone, Nick here. Today, the Serious Racing League reaches round 2 of Season 2, and with our specially curated and jumbled up calendar, that means that we hit the streets of Baku for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Now, last season I did reasonably okay here. I managed to make no mistakes during the race, apart from one where I locked up and went deep into turn 2, and that cost me a few places. It cost me a chance to maybe sniff out and find my first podium of the season. And as my first race of the year didn't go really according to plan, I was hoping that I could bounce back at Baku. Practice actually started off pretty well, really. I managed to win a race, I managed to take a wet weather pole, and I managed to win the race from that pole. Unfortunately, once the lobby started to fill up, things started going wrong. Did I kill anyone? Excellent.
That looked bad.
Whoops.
Are you alright? Let me know you're alright.
Very strange crash. There was, however, time for this battle right until the finish line with Jerome. This should be fun.
Where's this finish line?
Come on. Come on. Come on.
Oh my god.
Yes. So into qualifying then, it was a dry quali session, dry race, so no having to mess around with setups. We just needed to set as good a lap as possible. So braking just in time for turn 1, we're going to go slightly wide but keep it away from a wall, which is the most important thing. Turn 2, we want to brake nice and carefully, get on the throttle, and we've had an okay start. We haven't hit the wall, that's the most important thing. And at this point I was thinking, yeah, this could be okay. However, turn 3 did not go well. As we go wide, we hit the wall and damage our front wing. So at this point we need to just regain our composure and try and drive as smoothly and as well as possible. So at the end of sector 1 we've done a 35.770. That's not great, but we've just got to make sure we get round, because people will not finish in this. People will get more damage as we look up there going into the right-hander before the castle. We just basically got to make sure we get a lap, and with that reduced front grip, it's going to be difficult. So through here we're going to have to be really careful, knowing that we've got less downforce. We managed to get away with not lifting, but we're going to be very cautious through here because it's a tricky corner at the best of times. Very bumpy, very close to the wall on the right hand side. Exit of this corner is important, so is the entry though, and we've gone really wide there, locked up. That's going to hurt our acceleration through here. We're going to have to be really careful through here as well. We hold it into 7th gear before shifting up to 8th on the exit. Again, it's just not ideal, and it's going to hurt us all the way down the final straight. And as we approach the finish line, we cross the line to do a 140.942, which puts us 10th. Fuck's sake. So another really disappointing qualifying there. 10th on the grid, 2.1 seconds off the lead. It's just not good enough. Should have been in the top 4 at least. No problems. But 10th was where we had to start. Could we make up any places off the grid?
Inside of the turn was not nice.
Sorry? Sorry dude. I'm fainting. Here.
Oh, you dickhead. Fucking hell. Oh, me and myself. Oh no, fuck no. Fucking hell.
Alright, well done off the
Yeah, I
line
don't know
for
what
a
happened
good
to
position.
because there was a bit of mediums to it. I think he must have got caught by use of it. I was on the inside of it.
Dying. No. Whatever. Oh no! He could not stop.
Whoa.
Oh, that's fun. See you next year, Azerbaijan. Fucking shit track.
So by the end of lap 1 we'd managed to gain 3 places and get up to 7th place. We were on the back of the cars in front as well, so we just had to try and keep it steady. On lap 2 we were still on the tail of the cars in front and got a visit from a rarely seen friend.
VSC deployed. The virtual safety car has been deployed.
That was
Keep to
Drew
keep a positive delta
leaving the
here.
session.
Slow down. Maintain a positive delta. Okay, slow down, slow down. Your delta is negative, which means you are too fast. Reduce your pace.
It seemed to take a wee bit to come off on my screen actually.
The virtual safety car ended as we approached the castle section, and although it didn't cause us any problems, Tony up ahead of us in 2nd place did get a drive-through penalty for speeding under the virtual safety car, so that was going to help us out later. So at the end of lap 4, Tony duly came in to serve his drive-through penalty, and Cypherist came in for his first stop. I think he may have had to change his front wing though, because it was a fairly slow stop. And by the end of lap 5, I decided to do the rare thing for me and actually be aggressive about my tyre strategy. I decided to go for the undercut. I knew that the undercut from my practice races was actually quite powerful here. One thing I didn't know though was that Frankie ahead of me had a 5-second penalty. Somewhat amusingly though, he didn't know that either.
I was to pay attention, put it in the wall, which I put it, and I don't have a wing ready. And I've now been here for 5 seconds and I've now decided to change it.
That was our last
I mean,
stop.
fucking
No
hell,
more
how
scheduled
does that
pit
work?
stops.
They're standing next to me with a wing. A 13-second pit stop.
Did you have a second?
Sorry? No, I
What?
didn't have a second.
Crash the panel at the start, whether it was to do with that.
No, definitely not.
He did though, and as a result I'd managed to jump both him and Cypherist through my earlier pit stop. At the end of lap 7, Hags had pitted from the lead and come out in front of me, but Tony, Kev and Jerome all had to make their first stops. Would I be able to make it out in front of all 3 of them?
Yeah, but Black did it the lap before me, so I should make it though.
Brilliant. Nice move.
So that overtake put me into a net 2nd place, as Stefano, who was in 1st at this point, hadn't pitted. We had a 3.7 deficit to Hags in front of us, but on lap 10 that was going to become slightly less than 3.7 seconds. Oh, Hags has gone.
Oh, Christ. I was looking if he was ghosting, and I was going straight into the back.
Yeah, I didn't chance it.
No, he was getting a bit trapped. He's getting the
So that put me in the net lead of the race, as Stefano ahead was on the alternate strategy and still had to pit. That meant Jerome behind me was my closest challenger, and by the end of lap 13 he was sniffing around my gearbox. Generally he was faster all round the rest of the lap, but I was faster down the straights. It did mean that if I got a good exit from the last corner, I could defend. However, if he got the slipstream, I was in trouble. Whew. So just about held on there. The problem was I was definitely holding Jerome up, and this was meaning that Tony behind was able to catch the pair of us. On lap 16 he was able to get past Jerome and onto my tail. Go away. And as Tony wasn't as slow as Jerome down the straights, I was going to be hard pressed to keep Tony behind. Yeah, see, that hasn't worked this time. On the following lap, with Tony disappearing into the distance, Jerome finally made his move. At this point I was starting to think that a podium was the best I could manage here, but things started coming back to me as Jerome made a bit of a mistake. Wow.
Yeah, I just absolutely missed the braking point. Yeah, I got a 5-second penalty for it also.
So that 5-second penalty meant that I just needed to stay within 5 seconds of Jerome ahead and I would finish ahead of him. So that meant I had a good chance of finishing second, but Tony was probably still out of reach. However, I did still need to get past Stefano, who was still out on his hards, and that wasn't going to be too tricky. So that was me up into an actual third place. But up ahead, Sonny had come out of the pits a lap down and completely distracted Tony, which meant he drove into the wall on the outside of turn 2 and picked up some damage. So at the end of lap 20 he had to pit, and that gave me an opportunity on Jerome as well.
Oh, boy, Nick's got me.
Ah, I fucked out because I lost where the fucking braking point was. So I just went super careful. That wasn't too bad though, because as I said before, Jerome has got 5 seconds worth of time penalties, so I just needed to stay within 5 seconds. And I was slowing down and losing time to Jerome ahead of me, but he wasn't quite pulling out enough of a gap. So heading into the final lap he was 3.8 seconds ahead of me, but as I exited the final real corner the gap was just over 4 seconds. Barring a disaster in these last couple of kinks, it was in the bag.
Oh, I think he's stuck within the 5 seconds now.
I think so. Come on.
Not really like throwing away with him like that.
Fucking get in! So there we have it, my first win in the Serious Racing League on F1 2019. And on a track like Baku, with no
First or
assists
third.
and no
For example,
ABS
third
and no
finish
traction control.
5th or 6th.
I think it has to go down as one of my best
on the
victories.
second.
And I think
So it'd be quite
even though
close between you two.
realistically I only overtook one person on track really who was fighting me, and that was Jerome after he came out of the pits, I think it was still a good win. You can see there, you know, I won by 1.1 seconds with aid of that 5-second penalty. But yeah, okay, other people made mistakes, got time penalties, hit the wall, whatever. I suppose the thing that I find really good was that I didn't make any other mistakes. I didn't mess up anywhere. I managed to do a really solid race, and to come back from 10th on the grid around a track like this that's really, really difficult to win, I'm properly chuffed with that, so really, really happy. Anyway, that's the end of this video. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you've enjoyed it. If you did, then don't forget to like the video, and if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, then what are you waiting for? Hit that button now, and we're going to get to that 100 pronto. And let me know in the comments below what you thought of the race. Did you ever think you'd actually be watching me winning a race in the league? Not so sure. But anyway, until next time, and the next video, goodbye.